Youth Show, episode 3. I'm with Sana King. I'm told that Sana is her last name, right?
Yes.
Welcome to the show. And first off, I'd like to start with your well-being. How are you? Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm keeping afloat. I'm breathing. I am taking care of myself.
Taking care of yourself. And how do you do that? How do you take care of yourself?
I try to feed myself with positivity. You know, every time and again, I come up with a routine that works for me. And I listen to music. I listen to good African music. That African works for me. Yeah.
African music is like Mbaqanga.
No, like music by South African artists.
Oh.
A lot of it.
Oh, okay.
Storytelling music, jazz music. Yes.
I started appreciating African music when I started surrounding myself in 2000. Guys, I'm not 2000, listen to nice music. And that's when I started like listening to like South African music. But we're not here to talk about music. She wrote a book called Songs Broken Women Sing. Which is something that people don't talk about. Our wounds, our, pains. People don't talk about that. What made you to talk about such dire stuff, if I would call it that?
I live in my thoughts. And the title, when it says Songs Broken Women Sing, it's not the songs, but it's the thoughts. It's it's an internal dialogue that a person has with themselves. It's what you tell yourself. It's what you do not tell yourself. And in this book, I start off by addressing all the negativity that we say to ourselves. And then I carry on to inspire the person positively. I begin to write a hymn of healing. I begin to make a rhythm of words that actually make sense and bring life to the reader. So first we debug the issue, and then I show you the light. If you realize, I address the issue. Hey. That's what the word means. Hey. And then we
debug.
Yeah, it's like debugging a virus. So debug is a term that they use in like IT and all of that. So first I address the elephant in the room, and then I help the reader step by step get into the door of healing. So if you've read the book, you realize that in climax, that's when I'm like, yay, you need to heal. You need to take your freedom back. You need to take your power back. But I don't just end by saying you need to take your freedom and your power back. I hold you by your hand and I show you the door of healing, step by step. So it's like a sweet nectar. At first, it's very rough because I'm really, really, really talking to the issue. But then it ends very sweet. I say things, I narrate things in a way that makes it attractive. Like I draw the reader with me. The door of healing. It's open. It's free. It's this and that. And I talk about healing, how it's not taught in any institution. I talk about how it's free, how it's accessible, how you can just have it. So basically I sell you the dream and I take you with me. So hence I said songs broken women sing, because a song is something that you meditate upon. Once you listen to a song and you play it again, you already know which line is where and when is the beat going to go off or on. So it becomes something that you naturally dive in. So people have dived in a lot of things, a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to create a new song that a person can fall in love with. So basically.
Wow, guys, and we only just started. You see the knowledge. So like I read the book myself, a long time ago. I'm kidding. The question I'm trying to ask you is that how did you know that this at this time is what people are facing, people are going through, because I feel like what we're going through. That's why you wrote this book. I feel like you're talking to me, especially on this poem called Can These Dead Bones Live? I resonated with that. I think you spoke to me internally. So how did you like figure out that, you know what, I'm gonna heal 1, 2, 3, and not only by just healing, but like getting to like, okay, now I'm kind of looking at myself. This is the time now to look at where I want to go as a person, you know, and say, I did that and that and that, and I've healed, and moving forward, this is what I want to do.
What I will say is that your pain creates an opportunity. Your struggles create opportunities. Because once you have an issue, you already think of what? A solution, right? So I could only write about what I needed. I wanted a book of healing, and I didn't find it. And so I wrote one. And everything that I addressed there, like I said, I live in my thoughts. So if I'm troubled about something, I think hard about it. And if a solution comes around, then I want to write the solution for the next person as well. I didn't know that this is what people needed. But purpose aligns a person. What you are here for will align your journey, literally. So what I went through shaped me, and it literally ordained my steps as to from here you go here and there and there. So how I dealt with my brokenness is I paid a lot of attention to it. I gave it time and insight because I wanted to find out what is hurting me. How is this hurting me? And how do I react to the hurt that it brings upon me? And then I said, I don't like it here. I don't like it in this dark space. I want to breathe. I want to be alive. And I thought, how can I get to that point? And that's how I began to write exactly what I wanted to be. But it was not all on me. Because there's something that happens when I write. It's like there's a divine intervention at work. Because when I first read the book, I was like, this is not me. I did not believe it. And it healed me first. I remember I was reading it and I was like, what? So when I had the physical copy the first time, I couldn't believe it. So it's like, hence I said purpose, because purpose is connected to God, to the person who created you and placed you where you are. So I feel like he was there to assist, because God will not give you a task that he knows very well that you won't be able to execute. So he was there helping me to execute the task. And it was divine. It was divine.
It's helping. So you wrote a book about pain, about facing pain. And, you know, when I look at, for example, celebrities and whatnot who are on this earth to serve others and serve God, I always ask myself, who heals them? You know, who heals the healers? So where do you get your serenity?
Yo, what a great question. Who heals the healers? No one.
What?
And it's so sad. But the universe works in our favor. Not so long ago, I was in such a very dark space. And this lady, it was my birthday. This lady decided to give me a birthday gift. And she gave me a healing chakra. And she's like, Sana, I was contemplating giving you this chakra because it's not in purple, which is your favorite color. The purple one is a different chakra. But I decided to give you this one because I thought to myself, healers also need healing. And I was like, the universe is working in my favor because I needed it so bad. So it depends with the amount of pain that you're feeling. And hence I said I listen to music. I listen to other healers. So healers heal each other, directly or indirectly.
Healers heal each other.
So there's a way that I deal with my pain. So when I write or when I talk, something happens. There's healing that is literally coming my way. And I experience it. I'm like, oh, okay. So after I wrote that book and I read it, I saw that the mission was actually accomplished. It healed me before it was about somebody else's healing. It was about my healing. So hence I said, I don't know, there's something about living in my thoughts. I wouldn't say I overthink, but I think to the right amount, honestly.
You don't overthink, you think to the right amount. Like that.
Yes.
So I have a problem with, like, say, like now we're shooting and we have to edit. I have a problem with, like, watching myself. So you said you read your own work.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a tricky one.
That. It's a tricky one.
Let me tell you, I don't watch my videos.
I struggle too.
If I'm at a place and I'm performing, I can't watch my work, especially with people around. I can try when I'm alone, because the thing is, I criticize myself very harshly. I'm like, no, I should have used that word, not this one. You know, so it gets very complicated. But especially when I'm with people, honestly, I'd walk out of the room. If you guys are watching me, I will walk out of the room. So with the book, I was reading it alone, and I criticize myself harshly as well. I'm like, oh, I didn't like this. Okay, this, and all of that jazz. Otherwise, it's important to look at yourself so you can see the growth, so you can see where to improve.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, people won't tell you that you need to improve here and there. Because some think that they will offend you, and some don't see it because they admire your talent so much that they cannot criticize it. So you need to self-criticize. So in order to do that, you need to look at your work. Yeah.
So you say, like, I have, for an example, a tight set. We edit this, we wanna, like, circle it around, you know, people I trust. So you didn't, like, circle it and, okay guys, I wrote this, please tell me what you think, maybe your family or your friends. Nothing.
I did. I shared it with my friend and my lecturer, but they both didn't have the time to go through it. So my very close sister could only have access to it after the book launch, and then she gave me the critics. So I'm working on releasing second edition, but the very same book. And then I will know that it is my perfect masterpiece. Otherwise, I did receive some good criticism. And there's something about me. I already know. Like, when I put our work out there, I already know what's wrong. I already know what's right.
Really?
Yes, because I harshly criticize myself. I spend time with my work. So I already know. If I walk out the door and you're telling me that I look nice, I already know. If you're telling me that I have something on my face, or I don't look nice, or something's wrong with my outfit, I already know. Like, that's how much I pay attention to myself. So I already know, honestly.
Wow. So I'm going to ask you, I don't know if it's a difficult question. I'm going to ask you to choose one of your babies, yeah? Which, okay, let me make you choose. I want you to tell us which poem you wrote first in this book.
What?
You don't remember?
I don't remember, honestly. Because how I wrote this book is I wrote titles first, and then I went back and forth, changed this one, started this one. So I don't remember which poem I wrote first.
You know what? I am glad that you made a physical copy, because I like such things, you know, because reading books on my phone, so kind of had my eyes and stuff like that. And I, you know, to get the feel, man, and touch, and oh my god, you know.
Yes.
I remember I was reading this poem, and I was like, guys, this is Pamela. Like halfway through the poem, I was like, man.
I know this person.
Yeah. do you get like that when, you know, someone is buying your book and you're like, you buying my book? Like, do you get amazed by your work sometimes and the love you receive?
I do, a lot. Especially when people share their personal experiences and how much the book brought them healing. I'm like, God, you had something here and you did it. It's work done. Like, honestly, the first time I held the copy, I was like, I did not just do that. You know, like I was super excited because I was involved in the construction of the cover, so I knew where I wanted what to be, and like I was there every step of the way. And you know, in the process of creating, you sometimes, like, the vision sometimes gets blurry and you're not sure how it's going to turn out. But when I saw it, I loved it, and I was like, yes, this is exactly, you know. And people in my circle were amazed, and like peers or people that I grew up with. It's like, hey, but when you have a book out, you're a celebrity. And I always refrain from that because I don't know what celebrity is, and I'm sure it comes with a lot of responsibility and, you know, all of that jazz. So I'm like, no, I'm just a passionate writer who's trying to reach out. So people that I grew up with find this as a milestone that I've climbed. They're like, you achieved overly. Because it's not every time that you get to know the author of the book. So when you do, it's like, hey, but what? And, you know, so it brought a lot of inspiration to some people that, wow, my very own former classmate has a book out, you know? So it was such an experience for me. Like it made me realize something that I didn't realize. And I have to say, the healing that people are talking about is everything for me. Like, that's just it. It's everything for me. If somebody says, Pamela, this book is like a Bible that I go to every time I need wisdom, every time I'm hurt, then it's chai.
Sure. How does that make you feel, very like, remember when I bought the book, I was so amazed, guys, you signed my book. And I texted you, I was like, what? Like, how do you like, you know, absorb all that love and stuff? Because I have a thing, I like watching podcasts. So I took something from someone who said that if you live through the cherish, like if you like being cherished, that means you will die by the booze, you know? So like how, you know, the observation of love and you kind of making sure it won't detriment you at some point, because you know what?
That's a great one. I don't necessarily view myself by how people praise me or not praise me, because I could release my best work and not get praises. Then what? It's about what I feel inside, and if God approves it and says this is the one, then yeah. So because I believe that everything happens for a purpose, you know. So what I'm trying to say is this: people's praises I really appreciate, but if they do not come, I need to be feeding from a source that tells me even if praises don't come, I'm okay with that, you know. And I don't judge myself by the praises and the whatever that I get from people. I judge it by its significance, because you may live and do things and be sin, but if you never touched a person's life, then there is no significance in who you are. So service, to me, it's about service. The service that I'm rendering when I'm talking about heart matters, and you feel something in your heart, and you are able to open up about something that happened in your childhood that you never addressed. That, for me, is significance of the service.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. It is what it is. It's not about how many copies can I sell or how many people know me. No, it's about what happened in your heart. It's about what happened in your heart, honestly, because
it is what happens in your heart. My question now is, are you always like straightforward? Like, I feel like with these ones, you were like, hey, you are facing this. Hey, I'm like, some of the poems here are like, are you always like that, like in your personal life and stuff? Like, if you don't like something, do you know, point it out?
I try. For the longest time in my life, I was voiceless. And that's why I began writing. I didn't know how to express my emotions. This thing of parents asking you questions, you answering, and then them saying that you're back chatting got to me. Because it's like, you're asking me a question, I'm answering, and you're like, oh, so was a pendula manch. So that got me twisted. Like, I take time with understanding things. Hence I said I live in my thoughts. I am quite a smart person in class, but in life, I take time to observe and absorb things. So when my mom is asking me a question and I'm answering, she says I'm back chatting. It's like, oh, okay, so I can't say anything. So that confused me as a child. It made me to not have a voice, because I'm like, okay, I can't say anything really. So that's when I resorted to writing. So in my life, I try, now that I'm grown, I try to be as straightforward as I can.
Yeah.
But I still struggle with saying no. I haven't yet mastered that art of saying no. No, I can't. No, I'm unavailable, because I'm thinking about the other person and their feelings. And I feel like people need to normalize that when a person says no, it's not the end of friendship. It's not the end of whatever relationship that exists between people. it's a matter of a person realizing that if I say yes, I'll be inconvenienced. And I come first because I love myself. I understand there's compromises. People have to compromise in friendships and sacrifice a lot of stuff. But if I say no, there's a great reason why I'm saying no. And please respect that, you know? So I try to be straightforward, Shem. I do the most.
We're straightforward out here with Sana King. Please, off air, we were talking about how you came up with your stage name. Is it safe to say that is your stage name?
Yes, it is my stage name. And I feel very fond of it and very attached to it because it's my surname. Khosana, Sana Khosi, Sana King. It's just that I translated the Khosi into King. And now I'm like, I should have just kept it as Sana Khosi or Khosi Sana or something.
You can do that though.
I already have a book out, so consistency has to be key. So Sana King will do. And I tried changing my stage name a couple of times, but people are like, what? I heard Sana King and I thought that is the one. No, not that they thought I was a man, but that happens with people who don't think King can be a surname. Because Sana King is a stage name, but it's like a name and a surname. But the background of the name is basically my surname. So I've thought of changing it a couple of times where people are like, it's catchy. I heard it once and I was like, Sana King? Fine, that's it. That's the one. So
Sana King. It's her last name, guys. Last name means singing. I once asked someone, what's your last name? They said pretty. I'm like, what? What kind of a surname is that? Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I want you to read us your favorite poem on this book. Let me hand you actually now and think of one of your favorite poems.
My favorite poems. I told you this off air that my favorite poems are seasonal. It's according to what season I'm in.
Okay.
It becomes my favorite poem because of a particular season, not because it's like my favorite poem. So I'd rather read the one that you said you couldn't stop reading.
That's on page 9.
On page 9.
Yeah, and I'm also rocking, guys. Are you selling these?
Yes, I'm selling these t-shirts. These t-shirts started as a movement of supporting African writers. That we are writers and we need to support each other. So it began as a movement. So basically when you buy this t-shirt, you're like, I'm 100% for African writers. Yeah. I'm 100% for literature. I'm 100% for advocacy. People being able to talk and advocate for themselves.
Sure.
So yeah, because I also run a literature program where I teach kids how to read and write. And I try to help them express themselves. So it's like a freedom of expression type of thing.
Yeah.
So, because if you can't read or write, how can you relate to the other person? How can you express yourself? You know? So, these t-shirts are for writers. And readers.
And I'm a reader, so I also like.
So, I'll read the poem from page 9, titled, Can These Dead Bones Live? From page 9. When someone hurts you, they take power over you. When you do not forgive them, they keep the power. When you do not forgive yourself, you hinder yourself from power, from peace, from freedom, and from a new taste of love. For these dead bones to live, their master must call them back to life. For these dead bones to live, their master must claim them as theirs. For these dead bones to rise, their master must show them need. For these dead bones to feel needed, their master must make space for them. For their master to make space for them, she must clear up the space. For the master to clear up the space, she has got to wheel. She has got to long with her body, a tired mind, an empty soul. Even a broken heart can do. She must long to have these dead bones live again. She must remove all things that do not serve her anymore. Their master is already there. You. Call yourself back to life. Call yourself back to existence. Let these dead bones live. Let these dead bones find healing. Can these dead bones live?
You see, this one is my favorite, guys.
So this poem was inspired by Ezekiel, the dead bones from the Bible.
Yeah.
Because God was ordering him to call back the dead bones to life. And he was like, I can't do that. And God said, you have the will. And if I say do it, then you can't do it. So here I'm trying to say to the person that for anything in your life to function, you have got to will and long for it to function. Because when you are willing or longing for something, that's a vibration. You are attracting that thing. But what I like about the poem is I'm not just talking about longing and willing, but I'm talking about activeness of the willingness. That if you're willing, you need to actively clear up things that don't serve you anymore. You need to make space for good vibrations. Because if your hands are too full, you can't contain other things. So for you to carry other gifts or to be able to collect other gifts that God is trying to give to you or whoever or whatever thing that you're trying to receive, you need to have your hands ready. So basically it talks about the readiness of whatever healing or whatever you're trying to achieve. So I'm also like saying to the reader that the power is in your heart, it's in your mind and on your hands. So yes, the dead bones can leave if you will.
Thank you. What would you say to like people? There are some people who are, I don't want to say numb, but they like this negativity was nurtured to them to a point where it's what they know. You know, if you tell them about positivity or light or whatever, it's just like, that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? How do you?
The first thing I'll say is open your mind.
Because sometimes it's difficult though, and or they don't know how to.
I'm not saying take whatever another person is saying, but what I'm saying is have open-mindedness. Open your mind. Because once you open your mind, you are willing to explore. Immediately, that shifts your mind and puts it in a place where it allows you to grab what another person is saying.
Okay.
Because once you've been cooped up too long in an environment that it has become all you've known, it becomes difficult for you to even listen to the other person. So if somebody else is coming with a different perspective, you don't even want to hear it. So all I'm saying is will to open your mind. Because once your mind is open, then you're able to listen and to grasp. Because if your mind is closed, you won't even want to listen to the other person. You won't, you see, that's the problem. I'm not even talking about comprehension, about understanding the other person. I'm talking about just wanting to hear them speak. So wanting to listen to them. Yeah. So there's a difference, you know? So I'd say just open your mind. There's so many things in my life that I had to unlearn and I was able to unlearn them only because my mind was open. Before my mind was open and I was this straight person fixated in whatever I was fixated in, I couldn't listen to other people. Yet alone could I understand them? No. And there's something beautiful about open-mindedness. It brings so much growth. It channels your life. It puts your mind in another perspective, a different one from the one that you had. And honestly, it allows for growth to happen. It allows for growth to take place. And I think growth is the most beautiful thing. Honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Let me make this thing practical, right? Let's say you're my mother. Example. Okay. Let's say you're my mother, and every day, every single day, you tell me, you are ugly, you are useless. What? There will be a point where I believe that with my heart, you know. And the reason why I asked how is that I know there's people who don't read books like at all, and they're in that space and that plight, you know. I asked how because I'm thinking of them, you know. I'm thinking of that someone who doesn't read books. That's someone who's like every day when they get home, it's just negativity.
I relate so well to what you're saying. You know, black parents have a thing or a tendency of not telling their children that they're beautiful because they think, if I tell her she's beautiful, it will get into her head and all these guys will play with her because she thinks she's beautiful. You know? So growing up, I wasn't really told that I'm beautiful. All I was told was, you have big lips, you look like your father, you look like what. And that penetrated in, like, it brought so much negativity into my life because I was like, I'm probably never pretty because I look so much like my father. You've got ugly teeth. You've got what. So even in high school, I always used to wear like long pants. If I'm wearing a skirt, I'll wear like leggings or stockings or whatever because I thought I had ugly legs. But once I came out of that environment and I began to be open-minded and realized that the power is in me, I realized that nobody would make me feel inferior without my permission. Once I realized that, I was like, oh, okay, you think I'm ugly. That's what you think. I'm not granting you the permission to make me feel ugly. So I took a stand in my life and I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, they said I'm like that. What does my heart say? What do I really see? And instead of focusing on the negativity that people were telling me about or that they were throwing towards my direction, I focused on the little positivity that people were saying to me. So if you genuinely say, Pam, I love your smile, I'm like, what? So like during school holidays, I worked at a butchery and I worked at Durley. So a lot of customers would say to me, you have such a loving and welcoming and warm smile. I was like, okay. So if they told me that on a daily basis, I rocked it and I ran with it because I was like, no. So even if you now say you don't have a nice smile, I already know it because it's what I chose, I wanted to embrace. So what I'll say is, do not give people the permission to make you feel inferior. Don't, because you are. That's why it's penetrating. That's why their negativity is getting into you. And what you need to know is that people are not the same. You don't have the same qualities as other people or whatsoever. And you need to embrace exactly who you are. Because there's one thing about God. He makes masterpieces only. He can't repeat a person. You are who you are. There's nobody else like you. So embrace that.
God can't repeat a Percy.
Yes, he can't.
Wow. That's powerful. And
so we are all special.
Yeah.
Very special.
And I'm guessing that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to liberate people. Hence, you have an organization called Liberated Minds. Right?
Mind Liberators.
Mind Liberators.
Yes.
Yeah, because freedom starts here.
It does.
They say if you I forgot this quote. Oh my God. If you control someone's mind, you don't have to worry about their actions. Yes, I got it right.
Yes,
if you control
because
someone's
the mind is everything.
Yeah, so what are you planning to do with Mind Liberators and how did you start it?
So I started Mind Liberators after the fallout in my first organization where I had other partners and we had different visions. And so we had to part ways because there was a conflict of interest. So I started my own organization because I thought, just because that one fell off doesn't mean my purpose has been served. There's something that I want to do. And now Mind Liberators became more closer to me because now it was my vision and exactly what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about expressions. I'm passionate about children learning the right way of expressing themselves. Because children in the hood, especially in Alexandra, where I now stay, vulgar is the number one language that they know. Yeah. So I'm teaching them ways of saying no, I don't want to, in a very polite manner. And some use street language or whatever because it's all they know. It's all they have at their disposal. So I'm teaching them other terms of communication. Hence I said reading and writing is essential. So I'm teaching them that. Because once you know how to read and write, you are liberated. Because then you'll be able to speak up for what you stand for. You know, because you have the language. You have... okay, I don't know, but you have the words, the lingo, whatever. There's a word for it, but it's just not coming. But you have like your words of communication because you are liberated. You are a reader. Most words I knew from reading and from writing. I began to employ those words. So I'm more focused on, I want to see young people writing books. I want to see young people reading books. I also mentor young poets. So there's poets that always send me work. Please check my work. What do you think about this and performances? So I have a lot of that actually in my DMs of Pamela, I wrote this. Sana King, I wrote this. Please check this out. What? I'm thinking of starting a blog. How's my writing? And you realize that their language is not formal. So when they write something, it's like, I get what you wanted to say, but your language is totally off. You know? So they use a lot of like. And it's like, what? Even some people, when they talk, they use a lot of like. Why can't you be straight up?
Yeah.
You know? So my vision, honestly, is for people to be able to express themselves the polite way, the right way. Yeah.
They're scrutinizing their points.
Yeah.
This is how I want us to close, good people. Thank you for coming. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, I just honestly appreciate it.
Yeah, after so many years, man. So many years. So this is how we're gonna close this. Or do you wanna say something else before we close?
I'll only say that you are your power. And if you are young, that's where your strength is. You're only young once. Run with it. When you are young, there's nothing stopping you. Nothing stopping you. Because 20 years from now, you will not have the same energy that you have now.
Yeah.
So your youth days are your strongest. That is when you have to break boundaries and break walls and try to make means happen. And what I'll say is, don't live like you have a second life. You only have one life. Run with it. Run for your dreams. Be passionate. You know what? Live like you know it's only one life, honestly. And chase your dreams.
I'm going to ask you two things. Please tell us where to get this book, where to get your t-shirt, and where do we find you on the socials. And number two, I'm going to leave here, and we're closing it with I'm putting it on the spot, by the way. We're closing it with a poem, because she's a poet. That's how we do it, the Good Gift Show. So yeah, please tell us where can people find the books and the t-shirt and merchandise, everything that has to do with you.
My name is Sana King, and on all social media I'm at Sana_King0. So my books are available from me as well as my t-shirts. However, Book Circle Capital in Melville, a bookstore, has my books. So it's either you get it from them or from me. Thank you. Yeah. And the poem is I Am Me.
I am me.
You need to know who you are. So the poem is...
Okay, let me leave. Bye.
I am me. I am the best craft ever came out of the poorest clay. Clothed with honor and virtue, I am not of this instant generation. The 2-minute noodles at the Ace instant cook? No. See, I am like a traditional dumpling you cannot cook with your pot open. So patiently you wait for me, for hours and hours you endure for me the edible soul food that I am. I am the me you cannot see unless your eyes are as naked as the truth. I am the black girl that survives upon paper and pen. I am the victim of pain that lived to tell the tale. The pain made me, for it takes me something greater than pain to break me. Me, the pyramid strong image of God, I am armed with confidence like guns, and I am afraid of putting my guns down because I might lose your respect. For that is all you ever know how to surrender to. And I'm thug like me. I am me. Thank you.